Morning. We are 89B towards the bottom, about 6 lines from the bottom, Tana Rabbanan in the middle of the line. Tana Rabbanan, Navi Shehidiach V'Skila. A prophet who is Mediach, he incites others to Avodah Zarah. He gets skila, stoning. Rabbi Shimon Omer b'chanek. Rabbi Shimon says chanek. Strangling, choking. Madich Aaron Yidachas B'skila, someone who incites an Aaron Yidachas, which is a whole city of idolatry. So those who incite them get skila, stoning. Rabbi Shimon Amar B'chanek. Now, so let's analyze this. Navi Shidiach B'skila. What about the prophet who incites? My Talmud Rabban. Why did the rabbis say skila? Asya hadacha hadacha mimesis. The Gzera Shava using the words hadacha, malahal and biskila, just as in the case of let's see, kibi keshel hadicha chami al Hashem lokecha. And that's specifically, the Torah says you stone him because he incited. So the Navi also says about the Navi, Kidi ber saral hadicha chaminaderach, to get you off the path. So if one is skill, the other is skill too. Rabbi Shimon, what does Rabbi Shimon say? Misa ksiva bay. About the prophet, he doesn't accept the Gzera Shava because it says Hanaviyahu, you must, he shall die. It doesn't say how. So if it says he shall die without saying how, call me somewhere with Torah Sam. Anytime the Torah says you put someone to death, but doesn't say with what method, that's always chenek. And by the way, chenek, I believe, is considered the least severe of the deaths of the execution methods. So if the Torah says put him to death, then we choose that. That's why chenek is chosen, because it's the least severe. And now what? So that's
What
the
does
Navi. Yeah.
he
Sorry.
do with the Gzera Shava? What does he do with that
So
Gzera Shava?
yeah, that's a good question. He doesn't accept the Gzera Shava. What he, it doesn't say why. Um, I might have said maybe because the word isn't exactly the same, it's a different formulation, but even in Sanhedrin, we often use the word is exactly the same, it just uses the same root. So that's not a good answer. I don't know why or what he would do with the Gzera Shava, it just doesn't accept it. Now, Madichayer Nidachas V'Skila, what about those who incite a whole city of idolaters? My Talmud Rabban, why do they say you stoning? Gamri hadacha hadacha mimesi so minavi sheidiach. Again, it's a Gzera Shava of hadacha of Rabbi Shimon. Gamar hadacha hadacha minavi. Rabbi Shimon says, okay, you have a Gzera Shava, but we could do there's three instances where hadacha is used: the navi, the mesis, and the specific case of skila. So he's going to learn it from navi, and just as he says navi is bechenek, so he's going to say the madicher nidachas is bechenek. V'lik mari mesis. So the Gemara says, why? Why does he choose that one and not from the one where there's skila? Dani mesis rabim, mi mesis rabim, because the navi is someone who is inciting the whole public, and the mesis Nidachas is someone who's inciting the whole city. So those are more similar. Adarab, so the Gemara says, well, maybe you should say backward. Danin hadya may hadya. Why, you're taking the case of a navi. Why don't you take the case of a regular person who incites an Nidachas? All right, and not a navi. Like maybe you'd say the navi is the outlier case. So that would indicate that the rabbis have the right Gzera Shava. Don't learn it from Navis. Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Shimon would say, "What, you're going to call this guy a Navi? This is like the worst, the worst indictment of a Navi. The least Navi that you could be is to incite people to do avodah zarah." Right? That's like the anti-definition of a Navi. So don't call this guy a Navi. He was formerly a Navi, but don't classify him as a Navi with regards to the Gzera Shava. Amar Rav Kisa. Machlokas ba'oker haguf davodas kochavim. The argument between Rosh Hashanah and the Rabbanan is talking about um, like the whole oker haguf, like the haguf to avodas kochavim, the whole principle of avodas kochavim. The Navi who's saying there's no such thing as avodas kochavim anymore. That's what we're talking about. That's what the argument's about. V'kiu mixas ubito mixas avodas kochavim, or um, uh, but also if you say like only a partial incitement to avodah zarah, in other words, like bowing down but not offering sacrifices. Let's say he's like saying he's trying to incite people to only do a partial avodah zarah, or he's saying like only this is permitted. Drachmana Amar Minaderech, because the Torah says Ki bikesh ladichacha minaderech, that he's trying to get you off of the path, right, from the path. Afilu mitzvah. In other words, even if he's still recognizing there's a path, but he's diverging somewhat from it. Okay, I will okar aguf to shar mitzvos, but but a navi who tries to uproot any other entire mitzvah. Divrei kol b'chanek. That's not maces. That's not skila. Everybody, even the rabbis, agree that he gets chanek. The humus mixas ubito mixas b'shamet. So, what about if you only partly want to deny some other mitzvah? Divrei kol pater. That is not even subject to the death penalty at all. Master of Hamnuna or Hamnuna asked, "Lalacha zu mitzvah sasek." The Brisa says, um, uh, to get you to lolechas, to walk on a different path, that's a positive mitzvah. Ba zu mitzvahs lo taseh. Using the word on the path, that indicates a negative, a lo taseh commandment. Visa kadatach lo kachavim. Now, if you want to say that we're talking about idolatry, I say about what is kochavim hechamish kachasla. How could there be a mitzvah to say related to avodah zarah? Everything about avodah zarah is negative, right? The Torah only speaks about it in negative terms. So, if the Torah is saying lolachas ba, which indicates the death penalties for something to which and positive and negative commandments apply, that can be avodas kochavim. So the answer is yeah, there is a positive commandment regarding avodah zarah. The positive commandment to destroy avodah zarah, to destroy the mizbeach of an avodah zarah. So there is it is relevant to say that there's an assay regarding avodah zarah.
But what is okay? I don't still don't understand. Okay, aguf, the shar holding that removing of avodah zarah, is that okay, aguf, the shar mitzvah, where
I understand the question. Sorry, say again. The
I don't
Gemara is saying
understand what that means.
what the Bryce
I don't
was saying
understand
was
the
Oker Haguf mean.
okay,
Or you
aguf.
understand what Oker Haguf means, right? Like to uproot the entire
I
mitzvah,
mean,
right?
but to eliminate it completely, is that the point here?
Yes,
I mean, I
yes,
know what oker means. I know what goof means, but here in this context,
yeah.
okay.
I mean, the Guf means the body of the mitzvah, right? Of the prohibition. So Oker means to entirely do away um, with a mitzvah.
And in this case, to remove the mitzvah of avodah zarah, he would hold that. I mean, once he eliminate
He's
avodah
making a
zarah,
distinction, between avodah zarah and other mitzvahs, right? In the case of avodah zarah, you get the death penalty whether you are oker kol haguf, whether you say there's completely no problem of avodah zarah at all, do whatever you want with any idol. Um, but it's also death penalty if you say, only a certain thing. Okay, I understand that sacrificing to an idol is forbidden, but bowing is okay. For example, I'm just making an example, right?
right,
So
right.
that would right. But when it comes to that's all that. Even that is still subject to the death penalty. When it comes to any other mitzvah, it's only if you want to uproot the mitzvah altogether that you're subject to the death penalty. And by the way, everybody would agree that it's just chanek. But if you only try to uproot part of the mitzvah, then that's not even subject to the death penalty at all.
Okay, all right.
Okay. Masi Rav Amina asks, "L'lecha zu mitzvah saseh, ba mitzvah zu mitzvah lo taseh." Oh wait, we just did that. Sorry. Rav Amina Amar, Amid Aleph. Rav Amina Amar, machlokas boker aguf. Bein Babos Kachavim Bein B'Shar Mitzvah. So here's a different view that the machlokas between Rav Shimon and Rabbanan, which death penalty you get, is now he's saying differently than we just said before. It's only when you uproot an entire mitzvah, any mitzvah, could be avodah zarah, could be any other mitzvah. Then they're arguing about whether it's skila or chenek. V'kiu mixas ubitu mixas avodas kachavim, and also with avos kochavim, if you only uproot part of the mitzvah. Drachman Amar min haderech, because the Torah says min haderech afil mixas haderech. Aval kiyum mitzvahs ubitil mixas tishar mitzvahs, but if you only partially uproot some other mitzvahs, divrei kol pater. Then everyone says you're off though. Okay. Tanaraban. Hamisnabe la'akar davar min hakara. Someone who gives a prophecy saying something in the Torah is no longer valid. Chayav, death penalty. L'chaim makes us lovatel mitzvah, but if you want to just modify the mitzvah, Rabbi Shimon poter, Rabbi Shimon poter. Rabbi Shimon says there's no death penalty. But if the mitzvah we're talking about is idolatry, even if you say like just today, like St. Patrick's Day, it's okay to do avodas kochavim, and tomorrow, or the other way around, like that. That today you can do avodah zarah, and tomorrow is we're back to normal. Divrei kol chayev. That's a punishable offense. Excuse me. Okay. Abai said like Rav Chisda, Umataris like Rav Chisda. Abai holds like Rav Chisda and explains the Brisa like Rav Chisda. Rav said like Rav Amina, Umataris like Rav Amina. So how does this mean? Let's see how we explain this Brisa according to each Rav Chisda or Rav Amina. Abai said like Rav Chisda, Umataris like Rav Chisda. If we inhabit the view of Rav Chisda, then Amisnabi Lakar Davmina Torah Divrei Kol B'Chanek. So somebody who prophesies, saying that any other mitzvah, divrei kol b'chenek, everybody agrees it's you get chenek. L'chaim mitzvah mixas l'vatil mixas. But if he prophesies to only nullify part of a mitzvah, Rabbi Shimon poter, everyone din l'Rabbanan. Then what we say Rabbi Shimon, it's not only Rabbi Shimon who says he's off the hook; it's the Rabbanan also. Ubabas kochavim, but if it's idolatry, even if he says today, today you can do avodah zarah, but not tomorrow. Tomorrow, with the Isser starts again. Chaim. Then everybody would say death penalty. Market Islay, Market Islay. Each one according to whether they think it's skila or chenek. Okay, and Rava, several Rav tries like Rav Rava explains the brisa according to Rav Hamnuna as follows. I mean, it's not be like Rav Hamnuna Torah. So Rav Hamnuna said that uprooting any full mitzvah is any mitzvah chayav. Then you get the death penalty. Market Islay. So that would be depending on if it's the Rabbanon or Rabbi Shimon, whether it's chanek or skila. And l'chaim mitzvah levatel mitzvahs b'shar mitzvahs, to uproot part of any other mitzvah other than idolatry. Rabbi Shimon pater, v'odin Rabbanan. So we say Rabbi Shimon says you're off the hook, but the rabbis also say you're off the hook. But if it is idolatry, then everybody says chayav. Even if you say like today it's okay and tomorrow it's not okay anymore. Market Islay again would be whether it's Rabbi Shimon or Rabbanon. One would say everybody agrees you're chayav misa, but it's just a question of which death penalty. Okay, that was a bit of hair splitting there. Bakom, in all cases, if Navi tells you, don't do this mitzvah or violate this mitzvah, shmalo, you should listen to the Navi, chutz me'avos kochavim, except for idolatry. Shafilu mami l'chacham of even he performs a miracle like stopping the sun in the middle of the sky, al tishmalo, you don't listen to him. Tanya, we have a brisa. Rabbi Yosef Lili Omer Higia Torah l'sof dato shel avodas kochavim. The Torah understands the motivation for idolatry. Lefikach nasna Torah mem shalaba. That's why. Um, that's why the Torah talks about prophets that can, like when the Torah says, like if a Navi gets up and tells you, to do this against God, against the Torah, don't listen to him. The Torah's warning you. To emphasize that no matter what, like even if the Navi can perform a miracle, still don't listen to him. Tanya, we have Bryce Rabbi Akiva. Well, how can you even imagine that God would allow such a thing to happen? That this, some supernatural event would confirm idolatry. So what does it mean? What Torah is talking about, a Navi who tries to get you off the derech. It's like this Hananya ben Azur, Shem Itchilas Navi Emes. He actually started out as a true prophet. Lebasov Navi Sheker, but he was subverted, somehow became a false prophet. So, in other words, he may have originally been able to do miracles. But don't be fooled by that, because don't be fooled by that. Whatever miracles he performed was under his career as a real prophet. But don't be fooled when he becomes a false prophet. And that's what the Torah means.
Is this the Hananiah Azariah Mishael?
Oh, I don't think so. Who is this guy? I don't recognize his name at all, but I doubt if it's the same Hananiah. I don't have any indication that Hananiah became a false prophet. Do you know something I don't know?
No, I
Okay.
just
Okay. Okay, back to the mission. The last thing in the mission was Zom Bas Cohen. Chanek, Adim Zomim that accuse a Bas Cohen of Znus. So they get Skila. Yeah, sorry, Chanek. They get Chanek. Minani Mile, how do you know? I'm Rav Acha Breder Ravika. Rav Acha said, Rabbi Yossi Omer, the Tanya, Rabbi Yossi Omer, Lasisun Lakasha Zom Lasas Lachif. What is the punishment for Eid Zomim? You do what he was trying to do to the other guy, right, to the accused. Lefisha Hakol Hamumsim Shabbatara, because all cases of women who are put to death by the Torah for znus, for sexual crimes. So man who it's easy to know what to do with the Eidim Zomim, because the same punishment applies to both the man and the woman involved in the offense, right? So there's no doubt what's going on, what to give the Eidim Zomim. But Bas Kohen, he b'sreifa vein bola b'sreifa. The case of a Bas Kohen, what would be the punishment for a Bas Kohen and someone who consorts with her? They would get different punishments. The Bas Kohen gets the sreifa, and the man gets chanek. So the question is, when there are Eidim Zomim, it's unclear what to do to them. Do we do exactly what they would have done to the Bas Kohen, which is the burning, the Sreifa? So Zom, here the Gemara spells out Zom mean Enu Yodea im lo hukshu. Im lo hukshu. We don't know which punishment to give the Eidim Zomim, the one that the woman would have gotten or the one that the man would have gotten. Yeshomer lasos lachiv kashisim. You should do to him like he did to his brother lachiv lachos. So it's the male partner whose punishment we imitate. Okay, end of Elohim Nachnakim, and now we start a rather unique parak in
does that
Shas.
matter whether I don't remember from before. Does that matter whether she consents or she's raped? Or what's
No, I'm pretty sure it's free will.
okay?
Yeah. Okay, so Perek Chelek is all Agadita. It deals with a lot of topics which are rather esoteric. I'm sure we'll have a lot of questions, and they're probably beyond the scope of what we can cover in this year or what I'm even able to tell you. I mean, we're going to have a lot of things about Tchias HaMesim and Olam Haba, and these are all things in which I don't know if anyone has an authoritative answer. So there can be a lot of speculation here, but we'll see where it takes us. Kol Yisrael Yeshem Chelek Olam Haba. All Jews have a piece of Olam Haba. Second. Shenamar, Amech Kulam Tzadikim Leolam Yeshuar. The pasuk says your people are all righteous, and they will forever inherit the earth. Netzer Matzai Masei L'Isvayer. They're the branch that I've planted, the work of my hands, which for which to take pride. However, here are the exceptions. Those who don't have Olam Haba. Someone who denies there is a resurrection of the dead, that it's not from the Torah, or denies that the Torah is divine, Vapikaris, a heretic. Rabbi Kiva Omer, Af Hakore B'Sfarim Chitzonim, even someone who reads external books. The Gemara will discuss more fully what that means. V'halochesh al hamaka shev'yomer kol hamacha shev'sem Mitzrayim lo sim lecha ki ene Hashem rofecha, or someone who is trying to magically heal an illness or a wound, and says and uses the pasuk that Hashem said to Moshe after the Mara, all if you keep the Torah, then all illness that I gave to Egypt, I won't give to you, because I am God who heals you. So, in other words, misusing the Torah as some kind of magical incantation. Also, someone who pronounces God's name using its letters. In other words, it's kind of actual pronunciation.
This is the beginning. This is something that you say that appears at the beginning of Pirkei Avot. Now, I've had this question. It says Kol Yesh Lem Chelek B'Olam Haba, and then the Rambam lists those who don't have. So why does the Mishnah start Kol if in fact then there are exceptions that
I
those
think the
do not
simple
have a chance?
explanation is you
They
you
say
start
Yesh.
out. Everybody starts out with the expectation that they're gonna that and the privilege of Olam Haba, but it's not. But then it's something that you can fritter away if you misbehave. In other words, you always had it, but you can throw it away. Yeah.
Well, I could say Yesh Lem Yesha Anashim Yesh Lem Chelek B'Olam Haba. Not use the word Kol Yisrael.
Yeah. Okay. Good question. Um, but yeah, that's how I would, now that it does definitely list exceptions, that's how I would, yeah, that's how I would explain it. There are 3 kings and 4 commoners that don't have that don't have a share in Olam Haba. Aside from these exceptions, those are the 3 kings. Rabbi Omer Menashe yesh lo chelek Olam Haba. Rabbi says no, don't include Menashe. Menashe does have his portion. Shenemar vayismalel elav vayishma techinaso vayishiveu Yerushalayim v'malchuso. That Menashe was returned to Yerushalayim and to his kingdom. So he's interpreting that Malchuso means his share in Olam Haba. But Amar Lo, but the rabbi said to him, L'Malchuso Yeshiva. Okay, so he got the kingship back. But L'Chai Olam Haba Yeshiva. That doesn't mean he got his share back in Olam Haba. And Arba Idiotos, who are the 4 common people: Bilam, Doeg, Achitophel, and Gehazi. Interesting that Bilam is included.
Bilam,
He's not.
he's not Yisrael, is he?
Exactly right. So yeah, so it's unclear why we would have assumed that Bilam So it's clear at least that there are non-Jews, there are Gentiles who do get Olam Haba. Otherwise, Bilam wouldn't have been an exception, right? But the question is like, why list him among the like the Mishnah appears to say that Kol Yisrael Yesh Lahem Chelik Olam Haba, that Jews have this privilege that they can take advantage of if they don't throw it away. But Bilam, yeah, it's very strange that that Bilam is included. Again, like I said, there's going to be a lot of questions here that I'm just not equipped to answer. And I know there's a lot of commentary on this parak. I invite you to follow follow the questions that you have and see what you can discover. But I just, I won't be able to resolve all of these things.
Don't we say that someone was kofar be'ikr?
I'm
Kofar
sorry.
be- don't, I think I recall that we say someone who's kofar be'ikr does not have a chelik v'olam haba. Is that right?
Um, that sounds right, but I don't remember the specific source.
I don't either, but I think I remember learning that Meir, Acher, didn't he lose the share in Olam
Hmm.
haba?
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah.
So he's not listed here.
Well, maybe he's one of the other categories. I mean,
Well,
we did say the Mishnah did say that Apikoros is excluded.
so why is
And
it?
these
Who are these
specific
four
people who are
Hedros?
mentioned, I would imagine that they wouldn't fall into one of those categories, but nonetheless, their violations were so severe that they lost, even though it wasn't one of the general categories for which you can lose your Olam Haba, they still lost their Olam Haba anyway due to their extreme extreme actions.
But Balaam didn't he ultimately bless Bnei Israel?
Who Bilam?
Balaam, he tried to curse them, and then he blessed.
Yeah, but cursing, yeah. So
So doesn't it stand in? Isn't that a stead in his favor?
that he ultimately blessed them. Yeah, so you could answer. I mean, he still, the first three times or the first two times, whatever it was, he tried to disobey God, and also the midrashically, since he didn't succeed in cursing them, um, he advised Balak how to get them by inciting them with the Midianite women.
Yeah, I was thinking of that too. So I don't know.
We call Kachlama. So the Gemara wants to know, why is the punishment? Why do you lose Olam Haba? Why is it so severe what you've done? Tana hu kafar b'tchiyat Tana. We have a brisa. Hu kafar b'tchiyas hamesim lefikach lo yilachel b'tchiyas hamesim. So specifically referring to someone who denies the principle of resurrection. You deny resurrection, you're not going to get resurrection. Shekomi doesn't because God always punishes, measure for measure. Amar Shmuel Amar Rabbi Yonasan. What's the source for that? Minayin Shlomi knows which Hakadosh Baruch Hu Mina Keneged Mina. How do you know that God punishes measure for measure? Shenamar. Vayomer Elisha Shimud Var Hashem. Elisha says, Ka'es machar sa'asalos b'shekel v'sasayim sa'orim b'shekel b'shar Shamron. So there was a famine that was precipitated by a siege in Shamron, and Elisha prophesies that don't worry, tomorrow you'll be able to buy flour cheap. The famine will be over. And somebody said, "Ksiv vayanash Elisha shel hamelach nishan al yado es haish elohim vayamar." And then one of the king's advisors said to him, Hine Hashem oser rubos v'shamayim hayeh hadavar hazeh. If is God going to make windows in heaven that such a thing can happen? Like, don't be ridiculous. There's no flour. Don't tell me flour tomorrow is going to be cheap. Vayomer. So Elisha said to him, "Hincharo ebeinecha misham lo tochel." You're going to be able to see this happen, but you won't be able to benefit from it. Uksiv, and then what happened? Vayilochein, and that's what happened. Vayimusu oso ha'am bashar vayamas, and the people trampled him in a stampede in the gates of at the gate of Shamron, and he died. So in other words, he saw that the siege was lifted miraculously. God caused all the soldiers to flee, but they left all their provisions, and so the people, they were able to you were able to get free stuff just by raiding the enemy camp. But this guy got trampled in the stampede. And he died in the Shar, in the gate. So the Mida Keneged Mida is we'll see in a second. Vidilma Kilas Elisha Garmalo. Like, why do you think that God always punishes measure for measure? Maybe this was just because Elisha felt like cursing him measure for measure. As Rabbi Yehuda says, even if you're cursed by a Talmud Chacham, even if it's kind of offhand, it's still gonna come to be. Why says him came lichto krov vayir mesu vayamos. So why does it say vayir mesu bashar? They trampled him at the gate. My bashar al iske shar because of the matters of the gate. Because Elisha's original statement was a bashar shomron, right? That the price of our the gate will be so by using the Tanakh word "are" indicates that it was God's plan that that the irony of the Shar.
Because then
Um,
your speech was
so
garbled. Didn't hear those last two sentences.
oh sorry
From the Shar, that your
the
speech.
word Shar, the use of the word Shar is what's being pointed out here, right? Elisha at the price flour at the gate over on cheap. And this guy was trolled at the Shire. So that planned in a Mida Kneget way.
Losing your words. Not hearing your words. The speech is interrupted. It's frozen.
All right, hang on. I'll get out and come back in. Right. Can you hear me now? Hello?
Yes.
Anybody?
Yes. I think
Okay.
it's better now. What happened with the Shar?
It's the use of the word Shar. Elisha, when he made his prophecy, he said, "Tomorrow at the Shar Shomron, at the gates of Shomron, the flour will be cheap." And when this guy was trampled to death, the Tanakh makes a point of saying it was at the Shar, at the gate. This indicates that it's God's plan that Shar versus Shar, Shar for Shar, just as the prophecy that he mocked had to do with the Shar, his death also had to do with the Shar, and that indicates that Mida Keneged Mida. Now, where do you get the idea that the resurrection of the dead is from the Torah? Because it's not really written explicitly, and yet it's clearly a cardinal principle. Shenamar, "Unusatem mimenu es trumas Hashem li'aron hakohen." We're told to give truma to Aaron. V'chi Aaron li'olam kayim. Like now, if I give truma, where's Aaron? Aaron is dead, right? V'olo nichnas l'Eretz Yisrael. He didn't even go into Eretz Yisrael. He could never have gotten truma. Shenosin lo truma. Like he could never have gotten truma because he never came to Eretz Yisrael. And malam asid lichio. So it must be that he will again live. Yisrael nosin lo truma, and he will be able to get truma. This is a source. It's very Shmuel Tana. Rabbi Shmuel had a different source. Um, or at least he understands this pasuk differently. Le'aron ke'aron. It's not literally you give it to Aaron, you give it to someone like Aaron. Maron chaver afanav chaverim. Just as Aaron was a leading Kohen. In other words, give it to a deserving, a worthy Kohen, not just any Kohen. So just as Aaron is deserving, so his children are also the next generations of Kohanim are still should still be you should seek out Kohanim who are worthy. Amar Shmuel bar Nachmani Amar Rav Yana. Some nine she'ein nosnu truma l'kohen amar. It's supporting this. How do you know that you shouldn't give your truma to an ignorant kohen? Shenemar v'yomer la'am le'yosher Yerushalayim l'seis menas hakohanim ba'levim l'man yechzaku b'taras Hashem. And Chizkiah told the people to give their truma to the kohanim and levim so that they will strengthen God's Torah. So in other words, he's telling them, like, give the truma to those who will strengthen the Torah. Don't give your truma to a kohen that will not strengthen the Torah. I don't think this is a halacha l'masa, by the way. You can give your truma
true?
to
Isn't
any
that a
kohen.
Cohen? Isn't that any
Yeah, but
Cohen?
I think this is just a recommendation. But really, you could give your truma to any kohen. If you give your truma to an unworthy kohen, it's like putting it before a lion. Mari suffik doros v'yochel, suffik eno doros v'yochel. The lion may or may not, may not be hungry at the time. Av kohen ha'aretz, suffik ochel b'tara, suffik ochel b'tuma. You don't know if he's gonna eat it when he's tar or when he's tameh, right? You could be setting him up to fail. Rabbi Yochanan Amar, Afgarim lo misa. You could even cause the death of the kohen Amar. It's by giving the truma shenamar meisubo ki yachalu, because if he eats it betuma, then he's subject to death. Tver Elazar ben Yaakov Tana af masio avon ashma. You're even like making him responsible for sin. Shnemar v'sio sam avon ashma b'yachlamas kodshayim. It uses these words avon and ashma when it comes to eating truma betuma. Okay, Tanya. Rabbi Shimon Omer. There's another view of how do you know that the resurrection is in the Torah. I've made a covenant with them to give them the land of Canaan. Lachem onemar ela lahem. It doesn't say to you; it says to them. Min haTorah. So by using the word lahem, he understands this to mean you specifically, you people who are here in the desert. You're going to get Eretz Yisrael, but that didn't happen because of the Avon Hamaraglim. So it's understood as, yeah, you're going to get it when you come back from the dead. Shalom means Rabban Gamliel. The heretics asked Rabban Gamliel, what's your source for Tchias HaMesim? I can show it to you in all three of Torah, Nevi'im, and Ksuvim. They didn't buy it. Mina Torah. What was the source in the Torah? So what it really means is, as we'll see, you Moshe will be buried with your fathers, and the people will get up and sin. But if you parse it differently, if you take that word "will get up" and apply it to Moshe, to the first clause, then it's like you're going to be buried and you'll get up. Amrlo, so him the getting out the people that are going to sin. What's his source from prophets? T'chsiv Yichyu Meisecha Nevelasi Yukuman Hakisu V'Ranu Shachni Afar Kital Oros Talecha Ve'eres Refaim Tapil. May your dead live, my people's corpses will rise. Wake up and sing, you who live in the earth. For the dew of lights is your dew, and to the ground you will throw the refine. So the Dilma, so this is, clearly refers to corpses rising. The Dilma Mesim Shehechi Cheskel, but maybe they could have answered him. Maybe these are like there were definitely some. There was the Cheskel had the nevuah of the Atzamos Hayaveshos, right, where he says, you dry bones rise up, and they did. So maybe what Yeshayahu was referring to is not a general Chiyas HaMesim, but just that specific case. So that's a way to undermine that proof text. Mina Ksuvim, what is Rabban Gamliel's proof from Ksuvim? Tichsiv v'chikech kiyayin hatov holech l'dodi me'sharim davev sisei shenim. The words of your mouth will be like wine, going to my beloved with sincerity, stirring the lips of those who sleep. So those who sleep um, um, are those who are sleeping in the grave, as it were, and they're still going to drink wine. So in other words, they're going to get up. The Dilma, but maybe what it means is we're just talking about their lips moving, not that they're going to come back to life. Rabbi Yochanan, as Rabbi Yochanan said, Rabbi Yochanan Mishum Ben Yotzalak. Call me Shneimar Halacha Bishmo B'Olam Hazeh. Anyone who is quoted saying a halacha in this world, sivsosav dovivos bakever, his lips will move in the grave. Shenamar doviv sisei shenim. That's how he understands this pasuk. Not that the dead will rise, but that the dead will somehow continue their Torah in the grave. Ad shomer lahem mikraseh. But finally, Rabban Gamliel had a proof text that they couldn't deny. On the land that God gave to your fathers to give to them. As we saw before. It seems a little weak. Or some say his proof was the following. You who cleave to God are all alive today. Of course, they're all alive today. He's talking to people who are alive. Afilu bayom shekol ha'olam kulam mesim kulam atem chaim. Even on the day when everybody else is considered dead, you will be alive because you'll be resurrected. Ma'yom kulchem chayamim, just as today you are alive. Aflo olam haba kulchem chayamim, you'll also be alive in olam haba. Okay, so it's 8:30. We didn't quite get to the bottom, but it's a long daf. I think we'll stop here and pick it up tomorrow. I'll be teaching all week until Friday because David is away. They're pretty big dafim, but we'll see. Oh, but they're not too complicated. So as I said, it's all Agadah, so hopefully we'll continue to proceed
We
on
say by
schedule.
Rabbi Shimon ben Yehotzdik that the lips keep moving in the grave and they're not going to get up, or they are going to get up.
They're not going to get up. In other words, you wanted to say that the facts that their lips, that you can give them wine to drink, means that they'll be resurrected. Not necessarily. It's just their lips will be moving. They can drink the wine, but they won't really be alive. What does that really mean? I don't know.
Do we have
Okay, we'll pick it up here.
do we have a definitive proof from anybody yet?
Well, this last one was not challenged.
Okay.
Meaning not that you're alive today, but you'll be alive on the day of judgment, or the day of Olam Haba. I mean, it's pretty weak, right? I mean, that's why the Gemara asked the question in the first place, right? It's like you're saying this is a cardinal principle. Where is it even written in the Torah, right? And if you ask academics, they will probably tell you that Tchias HaMesim is not in the Torah, but it was added later by the rabbis, and probably may be subject to foreign influences or whatever. So it's really a good question. Like, if this is such a cardinal principle, where is it in the Torah? And I think it's clear that these psukim, most of the psukim that were brought are subject to refutation, as we saw. So, it leaves it kind of as a kind of an odd thing that you're claiming this is such a cardinal offense, and yet it's difficult, shall we say, it's difficult to find a real source in the Torah for it. So I can't answer that question.
It almost seems like I mean, people often write articles. They have their hypothesis, or maybe they even have their conclusion, and they find the thesis, and they find sources to support them. So
Yeah,
the rabbi
it's a foregone
saying that
conclusion,
here's
and
the
you're just looking for some prop. Yeah,
saying team, let's try and find something that supports our viewpoint.
right. Well, I will say that I don't want to delve any further into it, lest I lose my share in all of my. And we'll leave it at that for today.
Okay.
Okay, have a good day, everybody.